Paula Cooper was convicted of the murder of the 1985 death of 78-year-old Bible school teacher Ruth Pelkey.
The butcher knife through her chest. The conditions were so horrific that I felt I had no choice under the existent law.
No one had told her that she wasn't going to be taken out and executed at any time.
Flip hamburgers, I'm gonna take whatever I can get, you know, just to get on my feet and show people that I deserve a chance.
Fatally stabbing an elderly Bible school teacher. Cooper has spent her remaining teenage years, an entire adult life, behind bars.
A lot of people forgave her, but I think at the end of the day, she never forgave herself for what she did.
Paula's heartbreaking final day. On Memorial Day, 45-year-old Paula Cooper decided to go shopping for a new outfit at Walmart. Her friend Ormesia Linton, who had been close since they met in 1995, was worried about her friend's safety. Paula had been in prison for almost a decade when Ormesia arrived at Rockville Correctional Facility facing 30 years on drug charges. Despite her notoriety, Paula had a reputation for kindness and used it to put together small packs of noodles and other food items for women who didn't have money to spend at the commissary. When Ormesia and Paula were released in 2010 and 2013 respectively, it was Paula who needed help navigating the world around her. Before they ended up at Walmart, Ormesia received a phone call from Paula, who had been in prison her whole adult life. She invited her to come by during her lunch break at work, but she got lost. Paula still didn't know her way around Indianapolis and relied on her GPS for everything. When she finally arrived, she began to sob uncontrollably, feeling defeated and depleted. Ormesia didn't want to pry, as Paula was a private person and thought there was trouble with her fiancé. After spending time at Walmart, Paula asked Ormesia for paper and envelopes and spent some time out at the patio, smoking cigarettes and writing. It wasn't until early the next morning, May 26th, when Paula disappeared and Ormesia's husband handed her 3 envelopes and a letter for herself. Paula said she wanted to go where no eyes could see and hear the birds chirp for one last time and see the sun come up. Later that day, after an unsuccessful search for her friend, Ormesia spoke to a police officer over the phone who learned that Paula had been found under a tree on the north side of the city, demised from a self-inflicted gunshot to her head. News of self-harm. Paula Cooper, once the youngest ending row prisoner in the country, was sent to the ending row at 16 for the brutal knife slaying of Ruth Pelkey. Her sentence was controversial due to the U.S. Supreme Court's Gregg v. Georgia ruling, which restarted executions after a 4-year moratorium. The case became an international cause célèbre, with Amnesty International campaigning for her, 2 million petitions pouring into the Indiana Supreme Court, and Pope John Paul II sending an emissary from the Vatican asking that her life be spared. One of Paula's earliest and most unlikely supporters was Indiana steelworker Bill Pelkey, who is Ruth Pelkey's grandson. Bill had his father scrubbing the blood from the walls and carpet in his grandmother's house, but soon came to believe that his grandmother wouldn't have wanted to see her executed. He was particularly haunted by the memory of Paula Cooper's own grandfather on the day she was sentenced to die.
Today, she is a free woman. 43-year-old Paula Cooper exited the Rockville facility this morning.
The butcher knife through her chest. The conditions were so horrific that I felt I had no choice under the existent law.
I think about your grandma. The others think it's a joke because you all let them be free. I just remember thinking, you're smiling now, but when this day's over with, you won't be smiling anymore. I don't mind writing you whenever you want to write. No matter what you feel, I will love all of your family.
The more Bill learned about Paula, the more he believed his grandmother would have forgiven her. He tried to visit her in prison, but was denied permission, so Bill and Paula wrote letters. Their correspondence would last years. When 19-year-old Paula's ending sentence was commuted to 60 years in July 1989, Bill's first words were "Praise the Lord." By the time she was released on good behavior on June 17, 2023, neither was the same person they had been in 1985. Paula was a grown woman who had earned her GED, multiple degrees, and the support of prisoners and activists alike. Bill, now in his 60s, had found a journey of hope from violence to healing, one of the most influential anti-ending penalty groups in the country, led by victims of crime.
Death row inmate in Indiana committed suicide today in Indianapolis.
May have led Paula Cooper's apparent suicide. Cooper was once the youngest person on death row in Indiana.
No one had told her that she wasn't going to be taken out and executed at any time.
I just don't think she understood how to get past what she done.
16 years old in 1986, she was the youngest death row inmate in the country.
Says she's worked hard to prepare for her second chance at life, and she's hoping society will give her an opportunity to prove herself.
Resilience and tragedy. Paula Cooper was released from prison in 2013 and faced numerous charges during her release. Her attorney, Monica Foster, expressed concern about the press attention that would make the difficult adjustment more challenging. Paula was taken to an undisclosed location and faced ending threats, which were considered ugly for her longtime attorney. Traditionally, a person leaving prison in Indiana receives bus fare and a $75 check. Paula had more support than other prisoners, but she was overwhelmed and had never been an adult in the world.
Paula Cooper was convicted of the murder of the 1985 death of 78-year-old Bible school teacher Ruth Pelkey.
Cameras were there, but Cooper left the prison at 10 o'clock this morning. She will face a world that has changed dramatically.
Honestly, I sat and tried to figure it all out, and for years I couldn't figure it out.
Fatally stabbing an elderly Bible school teacher, Cooper has spent her remaining teenage years, an entire adult life, behind bars.
And I couldn't tell you what my mindset was at 15 as opposed to what my mindset is at 42.
Paula called her friend Melissa Marble, nicknamed Precious, who moved to Indianapolis to help her. They had never met in person, but they remembered their friend. Melissa had met Paula in 1993 while imprisoned on drug charges and admired her smile and empathy towards prisoners. As Paula began to get her life in order, Melissa saw her less frequently. Paula was skilled in the kitchen and was hired at Five Guys, where she became a manager. Later, she became a legal assistant at the Indiana Federal Community Defenders, working alongside Monica Foster, who had defended her since she was a teenager. The two began speaking to college classes, and Foster was nervous about public speaking but wanted to give back to the community. Foster didn't hide her anguish over Paula's slaying, saying it was heartbreaking. The office is not the same without her, but Paula was relentlessly cheerful. Foster wrote a tribute on the group's website, saying they're deeply sad that Paula reached a place so dark that she couldn't call out for help. Compassion and healing. Paula was fortunate in many respects when compared to those who were released from jail after a long sentence. Her sister Rhonda was her rock. She had committed advocates, important jobs, and at least a few close connections. However, her upbeat demeanor belied a great deal of suffering. Melissa remarked, "I think Paula did a lot of pretending. She had a great ability to make you believe she was all right." Beneath the exterior was decades' worth of unresolved anguish, ranging from her maltreated upbringing to her claims of being physically attacked by several ending row guards. Bill Pelkey stated in his book that at the time there was a rumor that Paula was trying to conceive in order to avoid being put to slaying. Nobody had bothered to tell her that she wasn't going to be taken out of her cell and executed on a whim, Monica Foster said of Paula when she first met her as a young lawyer. The teenager believed she would soon be placed in the electric chair. She was quite afraid. Even when her ending sentence was mitigated, the suffering persisted.
The opportunity to be responsible for cooking for herself, for managing her finances.
Great pride in what I do because people have to trust you to eat your food.
She has that support. For her to learn those things and for her to rejoin society.
Flip hamburgers, I'm gonna take whatever I can get, you know, just to get on my feet and show people that I deserve a chance.
Now, Cooper earned a bachelor's degree in 2001. Foster says she believes Cooper's support system will help her get a job.
Paula once spent 3 years in solitary confinement, often known as a lock, where she was kept in a bathroom-sized cell for 23 hours every day following an altercation with a guard. The sentence, which ran from 1995 to 1998, was incredibly lengthy. Melissa remarked, "I've served my own time in jail. You're not the same when you come down here, even after spending a brief period of time alone." Everyone I spoke with agreed that psychiatric assistance was what Paula most needed, more than housing or employment. Foster told me, "I think anyone who comes into that age and for that length of time needs mental health treatment, whether or not they believe they need it." Melissa stated, "I believe that a major reason we're sitting here is the mental aspect. A lengthy period of incarceration, abuse in prison, and abuse at home with the parents, all that she carried, include the crime she committed. Part of it was her crime. No matter what else she did, to the majority of people, it had to find her since she was 15. It's possible that Bill Pelkey pardoned her and perhaps started a forgiving movement. Friends, though, claim Paula didn't think she deserved this. She had never had self-forgiveness. 2 weeks after Paula passed away, Bill Pelkey returned to Indiana for a private memorial ceremony after living in Alaska. This weekend, the little party will be held in Monica Foster's private garden, the location of Paula's dream wedding. Bill has posted on Facebook to beg for prayers before he speaks. He never got to visit Paula after she left, even after all these years. She was instructed not to get in touch with the victim's family. Their experiences were nevertheless divided into rigid, incompatible categories by the system. But Paula left behind a legacy of bridging this gap and giving humanity to people we label as monsters. Bill asserted strongly, without Paula Cooper, there would be no journey of hope.
Our teens and early 20s, she has missed all of that. And so she's going to need a lot of support from people.
Somebody 33 times that what had happened today was a crazy, crazy, senseless act. And
we represent and their fears, their vulnerabilities, their loved ones' fears and vulnerabilities.
And you don't know what prison is, you know. Prison strips you of everything.
Got on my computer and I saw an email that my daughter had just sent. She said, "Dad, I'm so sorry."
A lot of people forgave her, but I think at the end of the day, she never forgave herself for what she did.
The sheer number of lives she touched is astounding. Among them are the clients who, on a daily basis, called Paula at her workplace, according to Monica Foster. For some in their lowest moments, she served as their initial point of contact when they needed assistance. Paula had the ability to give them a sense of dignity. She recognized them for who they were. That's all for this video. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.